I got beef with the Solarpunk community. Because how do you guys think that we're just going to build and consume our way up out of the problem that we put ourselves in? Like, how do you think that we're going to perpetuate the same cycles, the same behaviors, the same mindset, lifestyles, and think anything is going to change? There is a saying about that. What do they say when you continue doing the same thing over and over again but expect different results? What do they call that? Now, I'm not just trying to gatekeep an aesthetic, because Solarpunk was supposed to be a visual of an actual future that we could work and build towards. It was supposed to give us hope and help us imagine the world that we actually want to live in so we can make the real actionable steps to get there. But somehow the tech bro worshipping people and the cyberpunk fans got into the community and are now trying to make it what it was never supposed to be. Essentially a greenwash cyberpunk. A solarpunk future imagines us rejoining nature, taking care of nature, using renewable energy so that we can move away from fossil fuels and stop destroying the earth. That is what it was supposed to be. But somehow the renewable energy part got warped into let's continue doing our super high-tech shit and embrace all of that and continue doing everything that we're doing with the exploiting the earth and taking advantage of her and using all of our resources and doing what we want because progress. And somehow that's going to help us get out of our climate crisis. We're just going to keep consuming, keep digging, keep building, and then one day we are magically going to live in this utopian avatar mixed with Thai white skyscrapers kind of reality. Oh wait, I forgot to sprinkle some plants and solar panels on top of the buildings. Now it's solarpunk. And if we just ignore the real life impacts of solar, then it just doesn't exist. Somehow the nature side, which was the main focus of solarpunk, got completely left out of the conversation. And we're still continuing the same colonial mindset where we stay separate from nature, except for when we're using her for what we want and aesthetics. As long as we continue the same bullshit we've been on, we're not going anywhere. We are still going to end up in a cyberpunk dystopian future, but make it green. And you know why? Because we're not focusing on like actual practical solutions that are going to get there. Like, I see this not just with Solarpunk, but from what I've observed with communities, projects, businesses, whatever. Everyone is always focused on the big vision. Like, the visual is good to have because it gives us the direction of where we want to go. Like, that is our goal. But that is not the next step. That is like step fucking 200. And we haven't even taken the first steps yet. We don't even know what the first steps are yet. We're not even thinking before we start taking our steps. And that's our fucking problem. Westerners' issues is we don't actually think about the long term. We say we do. We act like we do. But really, everything is so focused on the short term, about now, about maybe a few weeks or a couple years from now. Rarely is it even a couple years from now. And it's because we're all in survival mode. We're all focused on money and how to make it fast because it spends fast. Like most people in the Western world are thinking of how to get ahead or how to just stay afloat. And that inhibits our ability to actually think about a realistic future. If you are incapable of actually sitting down and creating a plan of the steps on how to get to your goals, but then also what the repercussions are for your actions, like how everything ripples out, because it does, we're all connected. But the average Western person is pretty incapable of that because we are so far into our colonial mindset. And I've been trying to not use this word because it is so fucking triggering for people. Like some of you guys hear that and your brain shuts off and you just can't take any logic in after that. But it is the colonial mindset that is responsible for all of this. The colonial mindset wants to dominate, it wants to take, it wants what it wants. It doesn't have care for the people or the environment around them. It doesn't see nature as valuable if it's not of use to it. Colonialism is entitlement. It is breaching of other sovereignty. It is thinking that its desire is what is best. And as we could see now from the state of the world that we find ourselves in, what we want is not best for the world. Our approach to Solarpunk should not be tech first. It should be nature first. Like, there are some dumbass inventions that I've seen. I think Bill Gates or somebody, I don't remember who did this, but an example is somebody made these fucking like algae aquarium tanks to put in cities so that it helps clean the air when trees could fucking do that. Or how they're making mechanic bees so that they could pollinate nature when fucking bees could do that. Like, this is what I mean. Humans can be so fucking stupid. Like, yeah, it's cool that, like, we want to make solutions and that we have the ability to do that. Like, if it's really necessary, cool. But we're putting the problem solving in the wrong areas. If our bees and our pollinators are dying, instead of replacing them, how about we just stop killing them? If we need to clean our air, how about we stop chopping down all the trees and stop polluting our ocean? Yeah, we don't need high tech for that. We just figure out what the fuck the problem is, which we know what the problem is, and we just stop the problem at the source. Like, Western humans are so fucking egotistical that they think nature needs our inventions to survive when we could just stop destroying the already perfect systems that nature has. It's really funny because it's so stupid that it's comical. Yeah, these spaces that have been overrun by the tech bro worshipping people are so focused on like this manifesto of Solarpunk with its point to embrace technology to help us with our issues. But again, that does not mean tech first, and that shouldn't be our focus. And also, these are not hard rules. Yes, it is a niche that has been outlined so that we could follow a general direction, but this is not set in stone given to us by God as the blueprint that we need to follow. We have the ability to learn from our history, learn from trial and error, and correct our path. We don't have to continue in the same direction just because that's what we said we were gonna do. We could change our minds. And that's another thing that we fucked up with society right now is like we set these hard rules that we think we have to follow forever because of what culture, tradition, that's the way things have always been done. This is what works. Like, you know that we have the ability to shape our reality, right? Okay, last point I want to make is about the conversation about uplifting Indigenous voices and following their lead and learning from them. There is so much pushback against this statement because of the colonialism. And let me be clear, like, I don't think that we should just blindly follow any Indigenous person just because they're Indigenous. Obviously, there's different experiences because of colonization. Some people have had their shit wiped out. Some people have been forced to assimilate. Some people have been forced into reservations and don't have the same connection to their land as they did before. But that doesn't mean that that is the same across the board. That knowledge and wisdom is still passed down. All of that still exists. So to say that we shouldn't follow Indigenous people just because you might know somebody that's Indigenous and you're more connected to the earth than they are because whatever, your one experience does not represent the whole. There are many tribes, many peoples that are leading environmental causes, fighting to protect nature, fighting still to protect their lands, to protect the water, to protect the mountains. This is currently going on. You can make up all the excuses that you want, but that doesn't change the fact that there are thousands of years of history that they have with the lands compared to us, stories that speak to the characteristics of the lands, of the spirits, of the beings that are local to you. And that is why it is important to connect with your local Indigenous communities so that you can tap into that knowledge. Yes, you can tap into nature and connect with nature yourself, learn about your physical environment, but again, colonial mindset. If you still are deep in that shit and do not decolonize, well, then that's the foundation you're leading from. To center Indigenous voices in these kind of movements is not to make them mythical creatures. It is not to say that people that aren't Indigenous cannot have deep connections with nature as well. And it's not to say that the colonial mind doesn't exist in all of us because of colonization. But it is to say that we need to tap in with the knowledge of the people that came before us, whose lands that we are on. And that's not something that you could always just get out of a book, especially when you consider your sources and the history. I'm going to close up with a point that I've already made, but I feel like I always have to repeat this because we just can't get it through our heads. That we are not going to change shit if we do not change our behaviors, our actions, our mindset, the way that we interact with the world, how we view nature, our relationships, our relationship to her. If we want to live in a different world, then we have to make peace with saying goodbye to this system and world that we have always known as normal, because we can't have both. We cannot move out of an oppressive, dominant extractive system and world. If we don't want to let go of the comforts, the conveniences, the status, everything that it gives us, we cannot say that we want to stop destroying nature, that we want everyone to be free, but we want a new iPhone every year and we want the highest tech. Like, the words and the actions do not align. And we are really good at tricking ourselves, especially in the US right now, to think that we can have both. We think that we can have everything we want without consequence, as if it's all separate. When again, it's not. Everything has a consequence, everything has a ripple. You cannot have or do a thing that for sure is going to have certain outcomes, but expect it to be something totally different, like out of your imagination. That's not how reality works. Okay, done with the scolding. Mommy loves you. I just want to see us do better because I know we can after saying all this. I am super optimistic. We just have to get our shit together. So we're going to continue this conversation in some of the next videos.